Hello and welcome to the Urban Agenda. I'm Manisha Natarajan, and today we draw your attention to Mumbai's affordable housing shortage that demands a massive solution. The city desperately needs not thousands but lakhs of affordable right-priced homes. All eyes are on MHADA, short for Maharashtra Housing and Area Development Authority. This is a nodal agency of Maharashtra state. MHADA's mandate is to provide affordable housing in the state and also its capital, Mumbai. MHADA is entrusted with the responsibility of improving the quality of life of residents by modernizing older MHADA colonies as well, from Kamathipura redevelopment to BDD Chawl redevelopment in the heart of Mumbai. MHADA has big plans. Today we have with us the man leading these mega development projects, Vice Chairman and CEO Sanjeev Jaiswal with us. Let's dive straight in. Mr. Jaiswal, thank you so much for speaking with us.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
All right, let me start with the very first question. The purpose of MHADA is to provide affordable housing in the state, and the largest gap of affordable housing is in the capital, Mumbai. So let's start with your game plan to bring right-priced housing stock into the capital, sir.
Now, MHADA being the nodal agency for providing affordable housing in the state and especially in Mumbai, we are trying to take up a lot of schemes or projects whereby we can fulfill this objective and ensure that people receive or are able to bid in for the low-cost housing. Now, if I speak about the norms of affordable housing, then as per the Ministry of Urban Development, the norm says that roughly around 30% of the income of the household is what should go in terms of the housing requirements. If I talk about this, the country in general, states like Ahmedabad is around 21%, Pune is around hovering around 26%, but Mumbai unfortunately was around 53% as per the 22 figures. In the last 1 year, that figure has come down to 51%, but even then today, this issue of the price and the affordability is something which is a big concern for all of us. Now, to counter this in MHADA, what we are planning especially is that to promote more of the redevelopment schemes so that at least the people who are already residing there are able to get affordable housing. And now we are planning that every year around 5,000 odd houses should come in the fold, out of which another 2,000 odd houses we are going in for lottery in maybe next week. We are announcing it tomorrow. This apart, the other issue is as regards, if you see the prevailing policy, the policy allows the developer for going in for redevelopment either both on a premium payment model or a sharing model, if he's taking an FSI of 3 or an additional FSI of 1. So we are trying to insist upon and force to the developers that when it comes to sharing, the fourth FSI should not be taken on premium, but they should take it on a sharing model so that much of housing stock is made available to the people at a subsidized price. But the good side is that if you see the average pricing, so like even for the lottery that we are declaring tomorrow, the average pricing that comes to for the EWS category is from 29 lakhs to 42 lakhs. Or for the LIG, it comes to from 37 lakhs to 1.5 CR. And MIG is obviously 55 lakhs onwards to maybe 2 crores or 3 crores. But the bigger challenge is to increase the numbers. So that is one concern which we have to address in the coming days, for which we have already formulated a lot of plans, especially to see that we get an increased housing stock, A. B is that we construct more houses in the land parcel that is available to us. And C is that till now the approach was of a single building redevelopment. So to counter that, now we are encouraging a cluster redevelopment.
So let's focus on the redevelopment of the cess buildings that you spoke about. How much stock of housing will get added with this?
So there are roughly 13,000 odd cess buildings in the island city which yet need to be redeveloped. And on approx figures, around 4.25 lakh tenements are staying there. and we are taking a drive for the redevelopment of the same, and it is expected that in the next 10 years, all these buildings should come near the redevelopment or should be sanctioned in the redevelopment. So around 4.25 lakh tenements staying there will be rehabilitated at free of cost, and equal number of housing stock will be created, which obviously will be under the developer's quota, which he can make it available to the people at large in those areas, but in the open market.
Can you also elaborate on the redevelopment plans of the 114 layout of MHADA?
MHADA has 114 layouts, and it is estimated that almost 2.25 lakh tenements are there scattered. And this redevelopment that goes is under either 33.5 or 33.9 if it is a cluster redevelopment. And in the next 12 to 15 years, all these buildings shall go into redevelopment, barring few. So another 2.25 lakh houses for the redevelopment of the tenements staying there free of cost, and double of it, which is roughly around 4.5 lakh houses, will be made available to the developer for sale in the open market, which again will be taken by Mumbaikars.
Okay, Mr. Jaiswal, let's come to the BDD Chawl redevelopment, for which MHADA has been appointed as a nodal agency. Now, this is a large and a valuable project. 121 chawls to be redeveloped in Worli, 42 in Naigaon and 32 on NM Joshi Road. Now, there already have been some delays because of tenants' reluctance to move, rent advance issues. How solid are your plans, and do you think you'll be able to complete it within the set timeline of 2026, sir?
As you have rightly pointed out, that BDD project in the three places where we have started, Worli, Naigaon and NM Joshi, had a lot of initial issues which slowly, one by one, we have been trying to address. The demands were very high, and like even today I received delegations saying that increase our area or increase our parking or provide us this amenities, or we need this add-on feature over there. But by and large, most of the issues are settled now. And if I were just to speak in terms of numbers, then in all these three places, roughly 16,000 odd houses were to be constructed in the different phases. Out of which I'm happy to say that 6,000 plus houses have already started, the construction has started. Some buildings have almost reached the full height, and some buildings are in the midway progress. In terms of percentage, Worli has almost, the work started is 34%, Naigaon is around 50%, and NM Joshi is also around 50%. We do intend to start the first allotments of the rehab component from March 25, which is next year, so another say 6 to 8 months from now. But as regards the deadline of 26 was concerned for the rehab component, honestly speaking, I really don't see that we shall be able to complete the full rehab by 2026, for the simple reason that the tenants out there are not very cooperative, and in terms of vacating the premises where they are staying, the demand is for giving them transit camps, and they don't want to take the option of the rent which we give to them, 25,000 per month. So these are the challenges in getting the land vacated and to start the construction of the rehab building. So this is one major concern, but hopefully if everything goes as it is planned, then maybe by 28 we should be able to complete the entire rehab component of BDD.
What about the financial restructuring and fundraising plans for this redevelopment? It's 16,000 crore rupees in the first phase, which is a substantial amount.
Yeah, so if you see this is true that the whole costing of the project, only if I talk about the rehab part, is around 16,000 crores. And the tender that was allotted, if in that originally it was envisaged that even the free sale component will be constructed by MHADA or through the government. So that is another 23,000 crores. So roughly the project size for rehab and free sale construction is 40,000 crores if I go by the current price. Now, raising so much of funds for MHADA on its own or through the government is a big challenge. Hence, now we are also working on to see that the rehab component obviously is our liability, our commitment, our words given to the people. So we shall be doing that. So whatever 16,000 odd crores is needed for the rehab, that will be paid by MHADA. And to recover that amount, we are in the process of appointing some transaction advisor, which is at the final stage, whereby we plan to either get in some investor, or we also plan to sell off the FSI of the residential or the commercial component in pockets. So the rough calculation that has been made shows a positive cash flow if at all in the next 1 year we are able to trade off this available FSI for both residential and commercial. So we should be able to take care of our rehab expenditure, and not only that, maybe we will also be able to make some profits which we can use later for constructing more affordable houses either there or in the city.
Mr. Jaiswal, stay with us. We will come back to put the spotlight on MHADA's plans for the redevelopment of Kamathipura, which has been made famous with its numerous movie and series portrayals as India's oldest red light district. But Kamathipura has a rich cultural history and a resilient community which wants much better living conditions in its future. Conversation with the dynamic IAS officer, VC and CEO of MHADA, Maharashtra Housing and Area Development Authority, Sanjeev Jaiswal. Now, MHADA is playing a crucial role in Kamathipura's redevelopment with a focus on replacing dilapidated structures and buildings with modern housing and far better infrastructure. MHADA's efforts aim to transform Kamathipura into a safer and more livable area while preserving its cultural heritage. Mr. Jaiswal is with us. Mr. Jaiswal, give us a status report on Kamathipura redevelopment. What bits are you happy with in terms of progress, and what are the biggest challenges you think you'll have to overcome?
So Kamathipura is a very ambitious project. As you're aware that this settlement took place way back in 1775 when the workers were brought primarily from the south, and they were termed as Kamathis out there. And then later on, it was named as the Kamathipura way back, maybe 100, 150 years back. Now, coming straight to the project, the proposal was submitted to the state government, and a cabinet decision was taken that Kamathipura will be redeveloped under the provisions of 33(9). And MHADA has been appointed as the special planning authority. In the last 8 to 10 months, we have really worked very hard. And I'm happy to say that this whole layout is almost in 34 acres, where roughly 8,500 people have to be rehabilitated. And apart from the landowners, which is around 800 landowners, the minimum area to be given to them is 500 square feet. And we are in a stage now where almost all the DPR is ready, the PMC has been appointed, the presentation has been made to the high power committee, principally it has been approved, and maybe in the next 8 to 10 days or maybe by this month end, we are hoping to float the expression of interest for inviting bids for the Kamathipura redevelopment. So I am also eagerly waiting for this bid to come in the the offer to come for this regard, and we have already had some presentations made to the CREDAI Naredco, and the response was positive. So fingers crossed. I hope that we get positive response to the bids that will be coming up in the next few days.
Do you really believe that private developers would be interested in partnering in Kamathipura, sir, considering there was absolutely no interest in a prime location like BDD Chawl, which is located in Worli?
See, if you go by certain figures of the BMC, that is the Mumbai Corporation, then this is one ward and this particular area where the population has come down, though very marginally. Now, what does that indicate? That indicates that the available housing stock which is there in the periphery is not available, obviously because land is also not available. Secondly, the financial calculation that has been done in this project shows that roughly 5.5 lakh square meter area is what could be available for free sale to any developer who takes up the project. And to make it viable, after a lot of negotiation with the people who are staying there, we have been able to freeze the tenement size to almost 499 square feet. And we have also been able to come to an agreement with the landowners on the cap of the rehab tenements to be provided to them against the land owned. So as a result, the calculation does show that it is profitable in spite of all the challenges. And secondly, what I see as an add-on advantage in Kamathipura is the fact that the Residents Association, the Tenants Association and the Landowners Association and also the local people's representative, in the last 6-8 months, because of a continuous dialogue that we have had with them, they are very much in favor of getting this redevelopment project pushed. So the normal issues which arise, the resistance, I do not personally foresee much of resistance to this project.
Let's briefly touch on the PMGP redevelopment, 30 to 40,000 homes in South Mumbai. These are 30-year-old buildings deteriorating. Again, what I want to understand is, does MHADA have the capacity to undertake so many large redevelopment projects all at once?
Honestly speaking, you see the PMGP buildings and the similar buildings which is called RT buildings, the residential transit buildings. So we have 66 PMGP buildings and roughly 388 transit buildings, and the number of people who are staying here is, like the tenements out here is more than 36,000, around 40,000. The bigger challenge was that if I were just to speak about the legalities, then obviously when these buildings were constructed, it was expected that the conveyance takes place and then later on this building go in for redevelopment on their own. But unfortunately, the conveyance did not take place because of the resistance of the people who shifted in, and because of lack of maintenance or funds raised for the maintenance, the buildings got very deteriorated in a shorter span, and all this need redevelopment now. So government has now taken a policy decision that whereby they have allowed redevelopment of the PMGP buildings on lines of 33/7, which is for the CEST buildings. And as far as the RT buildings are concerned, they have allowed it on, a new provision was incorporated, 33/24, which is quite similar to 33/7 minus incentive. But the bigger challenge is that most of these buildings are either scattered, and the consumed FSI is more than 3. So the only approach which would be feasible in this setup would be if these buildings come in a cluster approach. So we are working on it, and like to give an example purposely, that one of the PMGP building which was there in Jogeshwari, we have just floated a bid for it, and if we get a response to it, I am hopeful that with the new incentives that has been provided in the Act, both the PMGP buildings and the RT buildings will definitely come in for redevelopment in the next year or two.
So redevelopment, housing, these are all long tail projects which require a minimum of 5 years of continuity of a committed leader. Now there is new vigor, we know, in MHADA since you've taken over. What happens if you're reassigned to another government department?
To be very honest, Manisha, I feel that, you see, the institution or the organization is much bigger than any individual who is heading it. So, in the services that I belong to, obviously, we are in a transferable job. Our normal tenure, luckily, in Maharashtra is quite secured. So, normally we put in 3 years, unless one is transferred before. But the only thing I can say regarding this is that being transferred or not being transferred is the ambit, falls in the domain of the government decision. But the institutional checks and mechanisms that are in place, and especially in terms of the agreements or the models or whatever we set in for any of the redevelopment, Once it is all sanctioned, once it all starts on the ground, then it goes on an autopilot mode. So there what is needed is more of a monitoring, a supervision and a timely update of the MIS, so that whoever is the VP is aware of what is going on site. So I personally feel that if everything is put on an autopilot mode, and if the institutional frameworks are seen to be implemented on the ground, then even if the officer who spearheaded it gets transferred, it shouldn't make a difference.
All right, Mr. Jaiswal, my last question, a lot of these projects are driven by Mr. Devendra Fadnavis and CM Mr. Shinde. Is a change of guard a worry for your vision for MHADA?
See, at the outset, I would definitely place on records my sincere thanks to the Honorable Chief Minister, the Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis, and even our Housing Minister, because without their support, the policy changes or all the initiatives that we are planning to take up could not have even been thought about, or as an officer, I could not have had the push to go ahead with it. Now, coming to your question, you see, Maharashtra as a state has always been a development-oriented state, and having put in 28 years in the services, it has come to a notice that the mega projects which are started, and even the redevelopment projects which are started, they never get stalled or they never get stopped just because there is a change in guard.
Thank you, Mr. Jaiswal, for taking the time out to speak with us. We look forward to MHADA's ambitious plans bearing fruit and significantly increasing the affordable housing stock in India's priceless real estate market. And thanks to all of you for joining us today on the Urban Agenda. Goodbye.